What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the Leadoff Show. This is June 26th. We have a 6-game main slate tonight, 6:05 Central, 7:05 Eastern lock. Wasn't able to make a lot of videos last week, but still was trying to put some breakdowns, slate breakdowns in our Discord. So if you want to join that, just send me a message or something, and we can get you in there. It's just kind of a small group, hangs out, talks about the slate a little bit. A lot of focus on underdog and prize picks in there as well. So feel free to reach out to me if you want in there. Like I said, any day I don't make a video, I still try to post some thoughts in there. So it's free to join. Just let me know if you want in. Had a pretty good week last night. Hit second place in the 121 on Thursday night. That 3-game slate went against McClanahan, and he came out with an injury, so that benefited me pretty well. But let's look forward to this slate. So it's a 6-game slate right now, but that could turn into 4 games very quickly. We have two games with weather risk, Cincinnati and Baltimore. Ross says pretty good chance of delays, some chance of postponement. Not interested in any of the pitchers in this game, but probably do have interest in both bats. The next game, Brewers versus Mets. The pop-up storms general area. Storms increase throughout the night. So if early storm hits them, they'll probably have to postpone by the time the second batch gets there. So do have a lot of interest in this game. Interest in the Mets against Colin Ray and also against Verlander. So this will be a game we have to follow closely. And then hot, humid, wins one out in Atlanta. So love the bats there even more. So, but this Brewers Mets game is definitely gonna be something we follow. We can kind of talk about it as we go, and see how it affects everything. This is a new Plate IQ. I don't know if you have looked at it yet, but it does show there's a teams tab as well. So I kind of like looking at that. You can kind of get a good general breakdown of just what we're looking at. You can kind of see some of the top teams: Brewers, Mets, Rangers, Mariners. Not too much of a surprise, but also too, you can sort by K rate. You can see Strider's got the best matchup. Trevor Williams in a decent spot. Verlander, Heaney, and just goes down like that. And Castillo in the low K matchup against the Nationals, but I mean tied for worst ISO with the Tigers. So we'll kind of break it down as we go. But if you're not using this, you probably need to start. Definitely interesting chart. And just kind of gives a good overview. All right, but first we can get started with the Reds and the Orioles. Like I said, I do have some weather concern in here. 469 total for the Reds, 531 for the Orioles. Brandon Williamson 5.3K, Cole Irvin 5K. Gonna have no interest here in Williamson, even not counting the weather, just not worth paying that. I prefer Cole Irvin on the other side, and he's cheaper. So there's no reason to go to Williamson here. As for Irvin, he's the cheapest. He's like the only guy under 7K that I would consider. Detmers is 7.3. Outside of that, Irvin is where I would go. So if you end up playing Strider and you still want to pay up for the Braves or something, you might have to go to Irvin. But that is the only way I think he's in consideration. In and of himself, I obviously don't want to play him against the Reds. The Reds are a little bit worse against right-handed pitching or against left-handed pitching, though. So I mean, it's a play him and hold your breath kind of matchup. Yeah, pretty low strikeout rates here in the middle. So De La Cruz is much worse versus lefties, though, so I wouldn't be too scared of him. But yeah, Irvin's only if you need a cheap guy, but I'm gonna try to go somewhere else. As for the Reds, I don't know. I do prefer to take them against right-handed pitching. Against lefties, not as much. The prices are getting up there too after they had this high-scoring series against the Braves. 5.8 for De La Cruz, India 5K, Steer 4.6, Votto 5.1. So I think if I take anybody, it'd be Newman, McLean. Newman's price is nice for a leadoff guy. The McLean's been hitting really well, and he's good versus lefties. Yeah, really good versus lefties. So I think Newman, McLean would be the only way I'd go, but I don't think you can full stack this. I mean, it probably gets up there cost-wise with the Braves, and there's no reason to take the Reds over the Braves. So I think I'm probably out on the full stack. As for the Orioles, I would like to play them if this game goes, so that's why I do have some interest here. Look at these prices outside of Rushman at 5.4, Santander 4.4. Everyone else is under 4K. So I think the Orioles make for a great stack, especially value wise. They'll allow you to pay up for Strider, who we'll get to, whose price is just insane here on the slate. So I think if this game plays, I really like the Orioles. We can see if anything stands out. They are facing a lefty, so it looks like Hayes, Santander, good plays. Hicks would be a good cheapie. Mateo's been terrible lately, but you just hope that he can get something done, get on base, get a steal or something. So, and then Westberg's new prospect that got called up should be really good. So I think any of these guys are in play. McCann might get pinched hit for after Williamson comes out, so I would lean Rushman there at catcher. All right, next game we got Brewers Mets, 3.65 total for the Brewers, 4.85 for the Mets. Colin Ray 5.6K versus Justin Verlander 8.3K. This sounded like I had a little bit more weather concern, especially for a delay. With that being said, I'm going to be out on Ray for sure. No chance I'm playing him. I faded him pretty much all season. Prefer to stack against him. Yeah, you can see he's had one good start there. A couple further back, but yeah, these last few starts is probably more who he really is, so no interest there. Verlander on the other side, definitely have interest. This is a high K matchup for him. Last time out against the Astros, gave up 4 runs, was able to go 7 innings though with 5 Ks, so decent outing there against a tough team. So I definitely like Verlander here. The problem is we got Detmers and Dylan Cease and Andrew Heaney all in that like 7 to 8K range. They're really going to be deciding between all those guys, and with the weather concern, I think Verlander's probably just not worth playing here. I would, you know, if it was decent weather, I would have interest, but factor in a little bit of weather, and I'd probably take the other guys over him. But it is a good spot for him if we get the all clear. That this game is going to be able to play without delay. I do like Verlander. As for the Brewers, really don't have any interest. Obviously, I'll say it again, the weather is a concern, so that scares me some. The Verlander, yeah, pretty good versus lefties this year. Struggle more versus righties, so that would, looks like Adames and Anderson would be the two that kind of stand out, but Adames is on my my hate list right now. We got me a big 0 yesterday. I had a good team, and he was in the middle of it with the 0. There's a good price on Adames and Tellez and even Winker, so maybe 1 or 2 Brewers if you kind of want some leverage, but I don't think Verlander is going to be that owned that it's that big of a deal. As for the Mets, they're in a great spot here. If this game plays, they're probably one of the top owned stacks, I would think. They got really good prices, fairly cheap across the board, outside of some top guys like Alonso that you're going to want to get anyway. I do like the Mets here. I'm going to try to play them. If this game goes, I think they're in a good spot. We can look at Ray's splits real quick though, if anything stands out. It's like much worse versus lefties, pretty decent versus righties. So target the lefties here. Nemo, Alonso's good no matter what. Pham's good righty. Alvaro's good righty. So it looks like a lot of the Mets have reverse splits as well. It's kind of an interesting matchup with Ray being better versus righties. I think the wind's out to left field pretty decently. Yeah, 10 mile per hour. So I wouldn't be too scared of the righties here. I think Alonso, Pham, Alvarez are certainly in play, but I would try to get Nemo in there. Based off this. All right, next game we got Twins Braves, 3.28 total for the Twins, 4.72 for the Braves. Sunny Gray 9.6K, Spencer Strider 12.6K, 87 degrees, 12 mile per hour wind blowing out. That is plenty enough for me to be off Sunny Gray. He's been kind of bad lately too, so I would just rather go to this 7-8K range. I'm not taking Gray against the Braves. It's been since May 12th since he's had 20 plus points, so. No interest in Sunny Gray. As for Strider, 12.6K, they finally priced him up, where it's a hard decision. I think that should keep his ownership in check because, you can't play Strider and the Braves or the Rangers or something like that. So it's really going to come down to if you can afford him. I would expect him to kind of have a good outing here. The Twins have a super high K rate. I think it was highest on the slate, if I'm not mistaken. So, the 10K or 10 strikeout upside for Strider is certainly here. Okay, look at these strikeout rates, near 30% as a team. I think you do everything you can to afford Strider. If you can't get to him, it's just part of it. But he's got true 40-point upside on this slate, so I'm gonna do my best to get them, but I mean, obviously 12-6 is tough, so you're gonna have to find some value somewhere else. As for the Twins, I mean, they're leverage. That's all there is to it on this slate. We've stacked against the high on pitcher before. We've been beaten on both sides of that. We've played the high pitcher and lost, and we've made some money stacking against the high on pitcher. So really just a leverage play. They have plenty of home run upside here. I could see Gallo, smoking one into the chop house. Strider's had home run issues the last few starts. I mean, you could even chase a cheap guy like Kurloff or Kepler or something like that. I mean, these guys do have good power numbers, over 200 ISO this year against righties. So if you don't play Strider, I don't mind taking a bat or two and try to get that home run. Over on the Braves side, it's really just going to be a price thing. If you play Strider, it's going to be tough to afford these guys. Their prices are really high, especially after that high scoring series in Cincinnati. You can see even the cheap guys, Rosario and Ozuna, are around 4K now, where we were getting them in the high 2s a few weeks ago. This is going to be a tough spot to afford these guys. Really just do what you can. If you don't play Strider, if you end up with like Cease and Detmers or Heaney and Cease or something like that, you could probably get these Braves. They're in, I would say, the best spot, the high scoring spot on the slate, but it's just a price thing is the only problem here. Let's see real quick if Sonny Gray is worse versus one side. It kind of limits power versus both sides, but pretty equal. So you might end up on Rosario or Ozuna or something like that if you need a cheaper one-off. But like I said, it's not as cheap as you would have wanted. Our next game, we got Tigers Rangers, 3.68 total for the Tigers, 5.32 for the Rangers. Matthew Boyd, 6.2K versus Andrew Heaney, 8K. Probably gonna be out on Matthew Boyd. I think I'd rather just play Cole Irvin at 5K instead of Boyd at 6.2. Boyd's been pretty decent this year, but just a really tough matchup here against the Rangers. You can see he definitely has 20-point upside. He's done it 3 of his last 4 starts. But this is a really tough spot against the Rangers. So I think I'm probably out. I would say he has more upside than Irvin, but it's really just a price thing for me. He's really good against lefties, but struggles versus righties, and he's going to see some really good righties here with Simeon, Jung, Garcia. Duran's been really good. Garver will be in there. And then Seager's one of his lefties who's really good lefty. So definitely a tough matchup. So I think I'm just going to be out on Boyd. As for Heaney, he's probably right there with Verlander. Obviously, he doesn't have the weather concern, so that's nice. But I mean, Heaney's just so hit or miss. I feel like his Ks are down a little bit lately, but he's kind of limited the damage. Yeah, you can see, 3 innings. I mean, that just happens for him sometimes. He could walks 4 guys and only goes 3 innings. Strikeouts haven't been too high. 6 has been the max over the past month. Might be kind of a lower upside. Let's see. Yeah, Tigers' strikeout rates are lower than I expected, only 20%. So I think I would lead Verlander. Heaney's probably right there with Detmers and Cease. They're all kind of in the same mix. Yeah, you can see 32% K rate against lefties. Let's see if we can figure out how to put it on last 30 days. I feel like his K rate's down. Yeah, way down versus righties. 22% overall, 20% against righties. And he's going to see, looks like 9 righties. So really looking at just this column, and that's pretty concerning with the power numbers and the strikeout numbers the last 30 days. So do have some caution with Heaney. If Verlander doesn't play, I mean, that puts Heaney in the mix, but if the Mets do play, I think I'll lean Verlander. All right, as for the bats, I mean, the Tigers are a cheap stack. If you need to play Strider and the Braves or something and need some cheaper one-offs, I don't mind the top of this order. We can check the prices real quick. Yeah, 2-4, 3-3, 2-5, and 3-9. It's really any of these top 4. I'm not really interested in messing with the bottom of the order, but we just saw how Heaney struggles versus righty, so I think a few of these top 4 guys could be a good add-in to your team for some value. As for the Rangers, lean to the righties too. Matt Boyd's really good versus lefties, so picking up for Seager might be kind of tough. Yeah, 6-2. I might just kind of lean elsewhere there. But the Rangers are like the Braves, where they're going to be hard to pay for if you get Strider. So just might have to play around with it and see what you can do. Yeah, the cheaper guys are like 3-4, 3-3. So it's going to be hard to afford them, but they are in a great spot. All right, we got 2 games left. White Sox Angels. 4 total for the White Sox, 4.5 for the Angels. Dylan Cease, 7.7K versus Reed Detmer, 7.3K. Cease is coming off 3 really good outings. He might have finally figured it out. Strikeouts are up. Walks 2-3-2, not bad. Able to go 6 innings in 2 of these games. Hopefully he's back to what we saw from him last year. We do get the Angels coming out of Coors. They did lose that series despite putting up 25 runs in 1 game. You can see here, Cease, super high K rate versus righties. He's going to see a lot of them. Outside of Ohtani, Tice, looks like Escobar that might be in there, Moniak. He's going to see a lot of righties, so I like this spot for Cease. The price is still good, 7.7. I mean, he probably should be up around 8.5 to 9K. So I think he's definitely in the mix. I don't know if I'm going to go there, or don't know if I'm going to end up there yet, but that price certainly makes it makes him playable, and he's been really good lately. Over on the other side, Detmers has also been really good, and he's a little bit cheaper than Cease. Yeah, you can see there 20 points in 3 straight starts as well. That included a start against the Rangers and the Dodgers. So he's been great lately as well. Let's see how the White Sox shape up against lefties. Kind of a mix. Got really high ISO for a few guys like Robert and Berger, but also some really low with Benintendi and Anderson. Strikeouts are kind of all over the place as well. Detmers is really good versus righty, so he's got the reverse splits there. So he should see. It's like Benintendi will be his only lefty he sees. So I really like that for some strikeout upside. So Detmers and Cease are, basically right there next to each other. I think I leaned them. I think I would maybe rate them like Verlander, Detmer, Cease are the same to me, and then Heaney if I had to pick. But one of those 4 guys is probably going to be your SB2. So if you have a preference, I certainly would just run with that. It is in Angel Stadium, so hopefully, a little bit cooler. So yeah, I do like these guys as SB2, especially if Verlander gets rained out. I think one of these guys is probably your SB2. As for hitters, I really don't have that much interest. Both these pitchers have done really well lately. Let's see if anything stands out. Detmer's really good versus righties, like we said, which is going to be what he sees. So I think I would just chase him upside with Robert, Vaughn, or Berger. Don't really see a full stack here, but I could see going with one of these. If you don't play Detmers, chasing one of these home runs, I think could work. Over on the flip side, I mean, if Cease starts walking people again, things could get out of hand pretty quick. He does struggle versus lefties, so that puts Ohtani firmly in play. Crazy numbers this year versus righties. So I think Ohtani or Moniak. I think I'd probably just stick with 1 or 2 of them. I don't see a full stack here necessarily. All right, last game we got Nats Mariners. 2.79 total for the Nationals, 4.71 for the Mariners. Trevor Williams, 5.8K. Luis Castillo, 11K. Let's see about Williams. Decent K matchup here. He's shown flash some upside this year. Decent start last time out against the Cardinals. He is a low K guy though, so he will benefit from this matchup, but I'm probably just out. I think I would just go Irvin if I went cheaper, or Boyd if I went more expensive. Or I would just try to get up to the 7K range. So yeah, super low K rate versus lefties, 12.6%. That's just insane. It's definitely not a fluke because that's what he was last year as well. I think I'm probably out on Williams. Just not really worth it in this spot. As Castillo is interesting. Being 11K, he's in between Strider and that next tier. I'd say he's the second highest projected pitcher on the slate, but I just don't know. His ownership might actually be in check though, because if people pay up, they're going to do everything they can to get to Strider. But that 1.6K difference between the 2 of them is a big difference. So it is a low K matchup, but I mean, there's not much to fear here in this Nationals lineup. Even if Castillo gets 6Ks, I could still see him going 7 or 8 clean innings. I feel like 6Ks is probably the floor, really. So if you can't afford Strider, I think Castillo makes for a good pivot. But my preference is definitely Strider on this slate. So as for the Nationals bats, really no interest. We just talked about they have almost no power. Castillo's been pretty good. I guess you could chase Candelario if you wanted one play, or Abrams and hope he gets a steal. But outside that, no interest in the Nationals. Mariners are certainly interesting. I think their prices are a little bit more affordable. Yeah, France and Teoscar still sub 4K. Suarez 3.4. And we just showed how Williams really struggles versus lefties though, so that would target Crawford and Kalinick. I just don't think Kalinick's been very good the last 30 days. yeah, really, really bad. So, man, Mike Ford certainly jumps off the page there. So I would lean a lefty or two here if you just need a one-off. But a full stack is in play as well. I mean, I'm not scared of Trevor Williams. I think these righties can get to him too. J-Rod and Teoscar would be my preference from the right side, but then Raleigh too to complete your stack. I think the Mariners are in a good spot here, and hopefully they are cheap enough where you can kind of afford some top pitchers if you play them. All right, so that should do it for the full slate. Quick recaps: Strider's your top pitcher. It's just a matter of price. 12.6K is expensive. We've seen chalk fail this year, so if you don't play him, just if you have a you can't afford him, just build a team appropriately and run with it, because he certainly can fail. But I'm going to try to get to him. I think Castillo is a unowned pivot off of him, but still 11K is kind of steep. As for the mid guys, we have Verlander who has weather concerns at 8.3K. He'd be my preference. And I think I lean C. Detmers in this game, and then Heaney. But any three of these guys are in play at SP2 if Verlander gets rained out. As for cheapies, would be Matt Boyd and Cole Irvin. So just where you land price wise if you have to go there. As for bats, I think the Braves are the top projected offense on the slate, but they're going to be near impossible to play if you play Strider. You just kind of have to make a decision there. I do like the Mets against Colin Ray. I've been picking on him all year. I like the Orioles against Williamson, but both of these teams have rain concerns. The Rangers are good but expensive. Really, that kind of fallback would be like the Mariners. That's kind of a good mid stack. Good upside, but also might cost a little bit. Cheapos, you can go Tigers, I feel like, against Heaney. And we kind of mentioned some one-offs as it went, like Robert, Vaughn, Berger, guys like that. So a lot hinges on whether these two games play. I think this is where some of our value comes from, especially this Met stack looks pretty cheap to me. So if these games get rained out, I would, certainly is going to impact the slate a lot. I could see the Mariners kind of getting a good bit of ownership if that happens. So we'll just have to kind of play it by ear and follow those things up to lock. And definitely need to be around your phone around 30 minutes before lock or so, just kind of a last minute weather check. If you're going to be busy around lock, you might just want to avoid these games, so that way you don't have to worry about it. But all right, hope that helps. Like I said, we do have a Discord, so send me a message if you want to get in. There's nothing groundbreaking in there, but if there's no video for that day, we try to talk about the slate in there and kind of go over a few things. We definitely talk about underdog and prize picks as well, some of the props we would like each morning. So let me know if you want in there, and I'll be happy to invite you. If you could like, comment, and subscribe to the video, that would help. Subscribers are creeping up little by little, so I appreciate you guys for doing that. And just continue to like the videos. It helps me out. It kind of gets it into other people's algorithm and stuff, so it can kind of get more views and things like that. So I appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you at the top.